I'm Alyssa Slater, the K-5 lead teacher for Rockingham County Schools. We are early adopters of the first grade formative assessment process. I'm going to share a little bit about our experience. An organizational practice for Rockingham County Schools is to have representatives from each grade level from each school to meet quarterly to discuss curriculum updates, create common assessments, and allow teachers to share concerns and collaborate across the district. We call this team the Connect Team. In September of 2017, our K1 Connect Team met for vertical teaming. While we were not a part of the K3 formative assessment for first grade, we recognize the value of the progressions in informing instruction, providing teachers with tools to facilitate learning, and communicating with parents. We knew at some point our first grade teachers would be asked to use the same process. We wanted to plant a seed for implementation. Our kindergarten teachers had been already implementing a similar process called the KEA, or Kindergarten Entry Assessment. Our kindergarten teachers worked with first grade teachers in rotational groups to analyze each construct and progression for the kindergarten entry assessment. Kindergarten teachers shared how they had implemented the process and used their data in their classrooms. First grade teachers were impressed at the amount of information provided. Many first grade teachers asked for a copy of the progressions to use at parent conferences. The first grade teachers said it would have been beneficial for them to have known all this at the beginning of the year. They asked if they could have the data at the beginning of the next school year. We talked to Dr. Dewey, who said she would work to make this possible. Rockingham County Schools had 2 schools in the first cohort for MTSS, a multi-tiered framework for student improvement. We were strategically adding additional schools each year in new cohorts. At this point, our first cohorts were almost ready for full implementation. We knew that the K3 formative assessment was being piloted, but chose not to participate due to concerns of overwhelming teachers. The Office of Early Learning Consultant, Dr. Cynthia Dewey, met with June Neely, our elementary director, and Holly Williamson, our assistant director of student services. Holly also serves as the MTSS coordinator. The more our district leaders talked to Dr. Dewey, the more they realized that the K3 formative assessment process assesses the whole child and connects to the MTSS process. Specifically, we had had problems in the area of emotional and social development. We lacked the tools and assessments to hone in on where the students were lacking and provide interventions. This K3 formative assessment process would provide support to address and problem solve the issues of the whole child. So, Rockingham County Schools agreed to partner with the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction Office of Early Learning. We would start with the construct of emotion regulation, since our data reflected the need for support and intervention. Our plan was to let the teachers select another construct to formatively assess. We like to have a plan. We had a home team which consisted of directors, teachers, principals, the lead teacher, instructional coaches, and exceptional program consultants. Our away team was narrowed down to directors, the lead teacher, and an instructional coach. Here you can see the specific members of our home team. The members of the away team are designated by an asterisk. We joined the State Community of Practice for the K3 formative assessment, which allowed us to collaborate with other school districts and provided focused planning time for us as a district. At our first away session, we made connections on how our student services programs and other departments would utilize the information from the first grade K-3 formative assessment. During our collaboration time at that first session, we created an elevator speech which would support in communicating with teachers as we strive to move our students to the top of the progressions. We created a handout with the what, the why, and the who. You may view this handout in more detail at the URL on the bottom right-hand side of this screen. Communication is vital in a district on all levels. We always like to inform our principals first, since they are our key instructional leaders. Each elementary school has an instructional coach. The instructional coaches meet monthly. At the beginning of every meeting, our principals meet with our instructional coaches for professional development and a time of collaboration. We shared the first phase of introduction to the formative assessment process and emotional regulation that we would be using at our next first grade Connect team. We discussed how the principals and instructional coaches could support their first grade teachers on the Connect team. At our spring Connect team meeting, we looked at the at-a-glance document of the progression and our handout, which was developed from our elevator speech. Dr. Dewey and her colleagues facilitated an activity to help teachers refine their understanding of formative assessment. We saw a brief video of what emotion regulation looks like. Let's watch a segment of this clip.
SEL means to me like social emotional learning. Like it means to like talk to other people, like to be respectful, be nice, like greetings or like saying hello, how are you, or your name. You could talk to them like about how are you doing, like how you feeling. Like if they're sick, like you could say how you doing, how you feeling. Like can I cheer you up? Do you need me to do something for you? Like we have a peace center, and like if we have a problem, like we go to the peace center and try to work it out and do our steps. We look at the board first because we have like a board that tells the steps, and we try to work it out with calmness and patientness. Like we let each other talk first, and we make sure that we can work this problem out before it goes into any serious thing. And like we have this bottle. Like if you get really mad, you have to shake and then look at the glitter until you calm down and then do the steps.
After looking at the brief video of the student perspective of what emotion regulation is, we examined specific emotion regulation scenarios and analyzed where to place those situations for those students on the progression. After much discussion, we clarified the assignment our teacher leaders on connecting would carry out, observing 3 students in the area of emotion regulation, sharing the at-a-glance document, and discussing all the constructs with their grade level. As a team, the teachers were to select another construct to pilot next year, in addition to emotion regulation. They would submit their selected construct for their school choice via Google survey. Overwhelmingly, teachers selected reading comprehension. One of our first grade teams was particularly enthusiastic. This team was from Enroton Elementary in Reidsville, North Carolina. They expressed that they wanted to pilot the assessment and use the technology prior to the implementation pilot the following year. So they were the pilot of the pilot. Dr. Dewey helped us make this happen. The team will share their experience and tips at our district-wide first grade meeting in August. We placed that first grade district-wide meeting for our first grade teachers on our calendar and made tentative plans. Our Student Support Services Department scheduled meetings this spring to share about the K-3 formative assessment process and how it connects to MTSS and their specific programs. There are many benefits to early adoption. We design the implementation and set the district goals. As we noted earlier, emotion regulation adds value to implementation of MTSS. Social regulation itself is an essential component to address the needs of the whole child. Here are just a few points of observation. 83% of students made academic gains who participated in social-emotional learning with an academic component. There was an 11% gain on standardized tests for those who participated in social-emotional learning. Behavior and attitudes change for students who participate in social-emotional learning. Another benefit of early adoption, besides helping the whole child, is that our school system partners with North Carolina DPI to build capacity for our educators and teacher leadership. For example, NCDPI provided support on the formative assessment process to our Connect teams and plan to partner with us for the professional development coming in August. And finally, just like our Connect team likes to connect with their colleagues across the district, Rockingham County Schools as a district likes to connect with other districts across the state. What is the plan? For specific details on Rockingham County Schools' plan, go to the tiny URL at tinyurl.com/K3 Formative Assessment Rocks. We have more details of the specific alignment of the K-3 formative assessment to MTSS. Specifically, we are addressing the whole child. We are using the formative assessment process to provide appropriate instruction and intervention strategies. And within that, MTSS addresses the needs of students at all levels, core, supplemental, and intensive. The K-3 formative assessment provides staff with resources needed for appropriate intervention and progress monitoring. In the past, we've not had these resources, and we are really looking forward to using these resources to help our students succeed. As I stated earlier, Rockingham County Schools always likes a plan. The K-3 formative assessment process aligns to our strategic plan, which is from 2016 to 2020. The specific component of this plan, which really works with emotion regulation, is the mental health continuum and framework. The goal there is that by 2020, all school support teams will be trained to identify and problem solve to remove barriers that inhibit student success within the school environment.
When you have a puzzle, you begin putting it together by connecting the sides and corners to establish a framework. Similarly, the partnership between NCDPI and Rockingham County Schools is providing a framework. Together, we will create a beautiful picture of the whole child.